Well, good Sunday morning, friends. Today, I want to just kind of take you on a little tour, a little quick tour, show you what we're doing here in the garden. We still have these planters that I got from Nebraska Furniture Mart last season. We'll be adding soil to them this season, probably within the next day or two. We do have temperatures in the 30s overnight. I think it's 30. So we went from 35, 33 back to 35. Here's some more. And I've got a project that we're working on right here. I just thought, well, let me drop a little video here for you guys just to see the garden. It's basically because the wind is not blowing, which is tremendous. We do have this area that we just kind of removed a lot of things. If you haven't been with us this week, we removed a lot of things out of here and got them to a much sunnier location. Something that works with them a little bit better than what will work here. Right now we're working on, the question was posed to you guys, rhododendron and azaleas and what would go here, because you can see there's a little bit of morning light here right now. We get maybe 2 hours of good sunlight. As soon as everything starts leafing out, it will get a little bit darker in here. But you can see this is what the morning sun will get. I think it's almost 10:30, 11 o'clock. So not much sun at all. We did talk about doing white azaleas in here. That seems to be the promise. That's what everyone says, go with white for the darker area. However, on the backside, it's consensus that they're very ugly when they start to die back. So, and then obviously they only bloom in the spring, so I have to go the next however many months with no color there. I will be dropping some hostas, that type of stuff, underplanting them. But then I started looking and kind of thinking of other things, and then I ran into Nandina. What do you know about Nandina? It says it can handle tough shade and that type of stuff here in our zone, so maybe not tough shade, but yeah, it sounds like I might be running with some more ideas. We'll continue to pursue that. Again, I don't want to plant too soon right now, because we do have those tonight. I think it is tonight or tomorrow night. That is 30 degrees. So, which stinks because everything is coming to life. We'll probably be picking out these lamb's ear and transplanting them, and then we'll come back here. I'm about ready to start picking up those planters and potting those. And here's another continuation from the front to this area right here. We're just going to continue it through. I've got 5 azaleas right there. They are pink. And then right above it there is honeysuckle. And then of course this garden's not complete without some whimsy. We've got a lot of things blooming in here. I can't wait to mulch. Once we mulch, then everything will tie in. The little white petals that you see in the background, that is from all the Bradford pears that are around our neighborhood. It's been so windy that they didn't even get to sit on there, but a lot of those petals are coming off, and now I can already see green on a lot of the trees. Right here is still a little bit of the project that we had over here. And then, if you recall, this used to sit right here. I'll be getting that out here pretty quick. And we just tore down some hardscape and a little bit of art. But when you walk into the backyard, this is what you're looking at. For any newcomers, this is our backyard, and that little red piece back there with the rooster on it, that is our chicken coop. We just ordered chickens a couple days ago. They will be here July 1st because they are back ordered. And we picked out 5. I'll be sharing with you what we picked out. And then someone's told me that when you order, sometimes they throw in an extra one, which could end up being a rooster. Cannot have roosters here. We are zoned out for no more than 6 birds, I believe, in the city limits, but I could not have any roosters. So hope that don't work, or I will have to find someone that does 4-H or something to gift that to them, because cannot have it. Don't want anybody upset. But anyway, moving right along, this area right here will end up being a ton of annuals. I have a couple spirea, these two right here, one there. Those two back there might actually have to come out, and maybe even this one right here. They do really good as far as like flanking both sides of this little divide right here. I'll be doing something right here to soften up that. But that spirea I've already cut back, but will fold over on both sides and it'll be sharp. But I think we're gonna do something that we've continued to do, but stay tuned. We'll drop in some annuals in there. Once we get to mulching, I'll mulch up around here, but I think we're gonna go with ajuga and lamb's ear. And I guess I could just go this way. I wanna stay out of the sun. So right here we have the variegated monkey grass. We'll be flanking it on this side as well, leading into this piece. Our new creek that we just did. We've got a bunch of hostas, a bunch of hydrangeas in here. They're just ever so slightly starting to wake up. You can see here. I've got a mess of those in there. Let's see, I keep a tag on everything. So you can see here, I keep a tag and I just bury them underneath because I do not remember very well. We've got these planters. Last year we did succulents on them. They turned out really well. They actually took the soil, same soil that we used throughout the other planters. Some suggested that wouldn't work because I have to have sand and that type of stuff. Nope, they worked out perfect. In fact, whenever we took them out of their planters, they were currently in the same moisture or the same soil that we added in there. So that worked out well. We've got heuchera on both sides, and then we've got one little hosta that is ginormous. You can see here. By the time, I can't remember the name, I don't recall the name, but it will come clear out to here and it'll fluff on all sides. Then I have a bunch of hostas coming in here. You can probably start to see. Then I have some dandelions. Anybody want to come pick weeds with me? This garden doesn't really have a lot of weeds. We pack out our plants so tight pretty much that the weeds don't have an opportunity. We'll get one or two here. This, what you're seeing here, I have sedum under here, but what you're seeing, if you haven't followed, I keep a bird feeder right here, a post, and it's just acts as a trough. I just took it out. I put it there every spring because then I can see, or every fall, because then I can see from the garden or from the deck in the house, I could see all the birds landing and coming in. Before I forget, this is a redbud, eastern redbud. These lamps, I am currently working on adding the new lights. This is Spanish moss. There is chicken wire and then little lights. The chicken wire holds the Spanish moss and it holds it really well. But I will tell you, the birds are starting to nest, so they came in here. And then we've had these weird, really windy 60, 70 mile an hour gusts coming through here. So early spring stuff. I said weird, but that's typical. But anyways, we're gonna fill that back in today. I'm currently working on a project on this to get these lights backing up. I'll probably post tomorrow our light project because I'm almost done on this side. I'm almost done on this side. I'll keep the suspense rolling. But I had to figure out a way because our squirrels came in and ate all the wire that we had over there. So I have rebar right here and the wire just kind of looped around there and you could see lights and it glowed. It was so beautiful. Then I came out here one morning and they were stripped. And then each morning I came out here, they were cut again and again and again. And I found out squirrels will use wire to strengthen their teeth and sharpen them. So that being said, I had to figure out something. Work is on the way. We are going to get that tidied up. Plus, there's something really spectacular about that, the lighting with the redbud. It's really sharp. So hopefully I can bring that video to you guys tomorrow. So now I told you I have a trough that keeps all the birds happy and coming. Now I go back into these because we'll have a lot of moisture throughout the rain, pardon me, a lot of rain throughout the season that will deflect off of here, but if I had it in the trough, it'd be open. Let's see. Okay, this is Filbert, the walking stick. I call it Phil, but got a lot of winter interest. we keep this around just because it looks really funky during the winter, and right now early spring when you're touring the garden, it's a conversation piece. So I think that's pretty sharp. Then we have our little lanterns. Of course, I've talked about that. I'm gonna go back through. Somebody suggested several years ago and it just never got to it. The theme of this garden is a little bit rust, a little bit of wood, a little bit of wonky, a little bit of theatrics, a little bit of whimsy. To tie this in, they suggested that I take some shoe polish or some type of stain and stain the white glass to make it look more weathered and like it's been here and it fits this garden. So that is something I'm going to do. I've got 4, you can see them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ever so subtle throughout the garden, especially when everything starts leafing out and blooming. Looks really sharp. Someone will ask, this is a pom-pom juniper. Looks really sharp. I shear it back every once in a while. If you recall, when I first purchased that, I had it underneath the redwood back there. Just didn't stand out like it does now. But now I'm happy with it. Some more post for our lighting project. And then this is kind of the graveyard right now. A graveyard of all the material that I've taken out throughout the whole garden this season and brought over here. And so now I have one location of nothing but stuff that needs to be taken into account and put into the garden. So somewhere, somehow, some way, all this stuff is going to make its way back into the garden somehow, some way. You can see here I have little wooden crates all over the garden, but they're tucked in. And like I said, when the garden wakes up, you don't typically see them unless you're. I'm trying to do details. Like I'm very big into detail. So if you're detail oriented and you start to come to the garden, you'll start to see I have them just placed ever so slightly in the garden, and it just kind of looks a little unorganized or a little messy for whatever is going on in this backyard. Looks like kind of got a little village thing going on. That was never the purpose in the beginning, but it is sort of what's come up. And so I have a mess of those throughout the garden. Plants grow in them and around them and outside of them and lean on them. So I think it lends its hand to the mystery of the garden. So whatever your idea is, when you come in here, you get to use your own imagination. I will not feed anything that I think of when I think of our garden. You can make your own little story. So that's kind of what we do. If you're new, I apologize if you're not. That I've talked about it a million times. Water hoses just used as a drip line. If you have old water hoses, you're getting ready to throw them out, perhaps use those as a drip line. Drill little holes in them, and then you can just have that throughout your garden anywhere. You can see here we have a mess of hostas, different sizes, different colors. They'll all come over into almost that white side of the brick and some into the red, and we'll do a really good job of softening it up. We've got more heuchera coral bells. I always have this thing running if I'm home, day off, especially in the morning. I love the smell of wood. More heuchera here, more on this side. All of these, all 3 of these pockets are all the same color. I think that will kind of just make its way through here and feel really cohesive, really thought out. I've got another hosta right here. That's Creepin' Jenny. Then we have our pansies. We just put out a video of that. We have my little hog wire here coming up. It's going to act as a trellis on our funky little shed here. That will act like a trellis, but you can already see here that it's climbing up. This clematis is climbing up oh so well. It's really took hold. We put this video out last week, I believe, and it's already coming up. You can see here, I've got one right there that's not as mature as this one. So this is just a little bit behind. Actually, probably a little bit, quite a bit, quite a bit. It'll come up here. I just used nails because I wanted to continue the theme. I could have used little pieces of wood, but I really wanted to emphasize rust and a unique way of doing things. We we can all learn from each other. And I like the idea of just old rust, old wood. It's just a good pattern for this garden. What we're doing here, right here, is golden barberry. You can see we put this new fence in here. There was some suggesting, or an individual that was hoping that would hurry up and get the little rebar out of there. I did so on the majority of them. I need to finish off this side with the blade, but we don't have to worry about the back side. It's all cut up nice and neat. We've added in a large amount of hostas all the way around there, hoping that they will flirt with this edge and kind of come over here as well. We put in some Japanese forest grass, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts, so there's one at every other post. That should lend into this softening of this border here. These posts, someone will inevitably ask, those posts are from hardware stores, just they're long posts, different lengths, different sizes, and then I just cut them in the same way. Then I have my iris bed right here with some quick fire hydrangeas right through here. Of course, my garden, or my pattern of whatever you want to say. I've got a mess of crates back there. That was shipping crates for corn. So they had corn in there, shipped them to stores. That just happened to be something I ran into, asked if I could take some off their hands, and they said, go for it. So that sits in there. It probably stands out like a sore thumb right now. And it probably does to somebody who is tidy and doesn't like this style. But once these quick fire come into their own, all the trees and shrubs, the shade of each tree and stuff, all lends its hand, and what makes it all these different designs unique. Plus, I'm not sure how many people would think out of the box to throw a bunch of crates against just a bare fence. It works for you or it doesn't. For me, it does. It's part of the garden. Anyway, moving right along, we've got our chicken coop. We talked about our chickens being here, arriving July 1st. This is their little coop. We are still continuing to shape it out, paint it. I've got to come back in here and shape or paint the mesh back there, the hardware mesh, so that it really just disappears. And then I will be happier. Yes, some of it has chicken wire, some of it has hardware cloth. Chicken wire stays all the way down on the first 4 foot, 3 foot, 3 feet. We should be fine. We'll see. For aerial predators coming, we should be protected from that. But maybe any creepy crawly guys that want to come in and eat what we've got going on here, I'll have to figure out another thing. Right here, we built these little bird houses, not necessarily meant to be bird houses. It just gives another piece of whimsy. See all that patina? Patina makes me happy. We roughed up the edges of the post. It looks like whoever's living in this little hobbit coop just decided to put that together. You can see our little window boxes. Behind it, obviously, we've burlap bags. So these flowers will come out and be changed throughout the season. I would assume probably by the time we get back from vacation, I can transition. Our last frost-free date for my zone right here in Gardner, Kansas, zone 6A, is April 15th. If you're new to gardening and you're wondering what that means, that basically means they took an average of something like, let's say 100 years. On average, the 15th is the last date that we would have a frost. So then people typically start planting vegetables and stuff, but you still have to wait to see if the soil's warm and all that. But anyway, I won't get into all that. I do know May 1st, I think, is the Gardner wide garage sale. I think that's what it's called. So basically everybody is welcome to come to Gardner, and basically everybody has a garage sale. So if you want to sell stuff, there is vehicles and incomers from all over. I think it's the first weekend in May. I said April 1st, but I think it's the first weekend in May. And people from all over come to see what you can snatch off somebody's, what you can purchase off somebody's property for garage sales. Anyway, probably butched that, but anyway. Right here, I just put up some more hog wire. You remember back there on that funny little shed that we've got? I have that hog wire, so I wanted to repurpose this. This is another honeysuckle peaches and cream or something like that. Always forget that. Something cream, cookies and cream, peaches and cream, something like that. If I remember, I'll fix that when I edit it and give you for sure. But if you can, for a minute, you can already see how well it is. First, so I planted it last year. Probably next year it'll really take off, right? Your first year you sleep, second year you creep, third year you leap. So I'm hoping this year it gives me a little bit, at least covers up a lot of this hog wire, and then by next season I hope it just absolutely does its thing and then softens up this edge. I think it would be so cute to be able to see it. It'll lend its hand to some more of that whimsy that we've got going on here in the garden. So I didn't come all the way over. I'm leaving this side completely empty. I just want it to grow up from this corner right here. So that should be fun. We've got a mess of hydrangeas already waking up in here. These are bloomstruck. And we've got hostas around through here. We've got a bunch of ajuga that will soften the edges up. You can see there, should look really well. Once these hydrangeas mature, last year I planted them, so once they start to mature, obviously I will remove one or two so that it can come into its own. But right now, when I plant something, I always like to plant it tight, give me that overall feel of what I'm looking for, and then as time continues, then I will pop it out and put it in a different part of the garden, and it allows me to underplant and do different things. So that's just what we do here at this garden. You can see here, I always grab driftwood if I see some. Driftwood, something unique. I like unique designs. I thought that was funky, the way it's already rotting out. Really got all the character in there instead of just a straight log. So, I mean, it just really works with the garden. Then we have all of our little rocks. I try to, when I'm gathering rocks and boulders, I always try to add color. So pinks, blues, grays, little shiny particles, whatever it is. You can see we've got a mess of them. Probably middle of May, you won't even see most of the stone right there because it will be covered over with salvias and ajuga and probably some dandelions and whatever it is. There's a lot in the garden that it will ultimately cover up, and everything will be cohesive. You can see all these pieces right here. Those are alliums, and these are some more alliums. Those are serendipity. Then right here on each side we have baptisia. Both of them, I believe, are the same color. I'll have to go and look at photos. I think they're both, so that when you're looking from, when you walk in through the back garden and you're looking from that angle this way, something pretty, I want it to be, draw you in. So from right here you can see the planters and stuff. You're like, oh, I want to get back over there. And then when you're from inside that, or from when you're walking inside that gate, I want it to draw back over here. There's a Japanese maple right there. You can start to see that's a little bit of shade of purple in there, different than the two red buds on both sides. Here is a smoke bush. So you can see I've got a trend of purple or burgundy colored leaves, foliage to soften up all the greens. And that's why I think I went with this country barnyard red right here, so that I could really soften up everything. Then we have a couple of these little whimsical balls. Not sure if it does anything for me right here because it is a stark contrast from the red that's on here. I might move them throughout the garden, I might not. That's all Pachysandra below it, so once it grows up, and I added that I think last year, maybe the year before, and then I had a stump in here, or driftwood, and it rotted out after all these years, so I just removed it. So all this will fill in. It's an underplant that you can, or it's a plant that you can underplant under your trees and really shade. They do not tolerate sun, at least in my zone. We have another Japanese maple right here. Let's see. Yeah, so all this will fill in. We've got our little water feature right here. Underneath there is a large reservoir of water. It's a water trough for cattle, horses, whatever. Once the season gets started, I don't have to worry about anything. I can turn that back on. Right here, we have these saucers. Probably, so I told you guys the other day on the video, the 4 most asked questions. What are the pink trees? Those are red buds. The Arizona blue spruce. What is the Stargate? That's a moongate. What are those tall, slender trees in the back? Those are Taylor junipers. The next big question I get asked are, what are these saucers and where can they get them? I got these saucers on overstock.com. Then when I put that on both the Instagram and this channel, people had got back and said that link doesn't work. So they may have sold out. I don't know how it works out, but that's where I've got them. Overstock.com, whether they're in there or not. They used to have white ones and they had these. So if they're not in there anymore, I do apologize, but that is where I ultimately got them. I will switch this up. In fact, I am taking out, because I do switch up time to time, I am taking out those railroad ties. I'm getting ready to finish the pond area. The pond will be up here and then it will cascade down, if you can, way down there. We're about 3 feet higher. So up here is where I'm gonna put a pond that cascades into the other pond. So that'll be a fun little feature. Again, I've got the lights above me. We're working on, I am going to have to remove these 3 serendipity alliums. They've already got as much sun as they're gonna get this morning. And what I say, it's only roughly 11 o'clock. The iris seem to do well. They do tend to start flopping towards the end of the season. Of course, then I have the rainbows end hosta, and they will be fine just where they're at. This right here is a tiger's eye sumac. It is starting to wake up. There is a little bit of love and hate for these. I love them, but yes, they do kind of tend to come up in other parts of the garden. I stay on top of it. Once I snap it or pull it up, it's done. I don't have to worry about that spot anymore. If you're large acreage and you don't there's just too much to maintain, perhaps. Yeah, it could probably get away from you. Smaller yards and you don't get out to your yard and you plant these and you're not worried about it, then yeah, it's probably it's 100% going to come up in your area in other parts. But yeah, I'll dig up these serendipity. Underneath is a juga. That serendipity alliums will go somewhere over by that that bridge that we were just at a while ago. The iris, more than likely, are going to stay there, but I think it is probably time for me to dig them up and thin them out. Who knows? We pulled up right here. There was the Japanese forest grass. I pulled one up there, so I need to fill that hole in with something. Then I have a little piece of Whimsy down there, a little windmill made out of iron stakes. Right here is a dogwood ivory halo with red twigs. Really sharp. I love it. It's very good contrast right here. And this is probably one of my favorite bridges. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 bridges throughout the garden. This is one of my favorite ones because it really just lends you to a good view here. And then once this Japanese maple right here takes off, and I think I planted this let's say 3 years ago. So it really should start to branch out. I'm really hoping it branches out and goes that way. But my fear is once it does start to really take off, the tiger's eye sumac may not get the sun that it loves, and they're sun loving like no other. Yeah, this is fescue grass. It's a beautiful blend. I think it does really good right here in the garden. And then those of you who have followed me forever, stay patient as I say this, but our garden floods, so the water will run off here into this creek, goes under this bridge, You can see there's a bunch of water from just a little bit of rain we had the other day. It will follow this around here. It will start to build up in here. So I made this reservoir right here. This is pretty deep. It doesn't look deep on the video, but it is deep. And then it will come and cascade into these railroad ties right here where they're separated. We just did this project as well. You can see there's water down there. So that helps keep that water off the grass for the most part. I shared with you guys the other day that I am having just a little bit more water issue right through here. That's why the grass is just a tad bit thinner. And then I added this piece of sod here because I'm getting ready to sod this out. But then I'm on pause because I'm not sure how I want to do this. Someone suggested I run the creek back over here. I've thought about that. My wife and I talked about that. That's a good idea. So we also talked about doing stones or more railroad ties. When we talk about doing railroad ties, again, love and hate. Some people don't even care. They just throw them in the ground like I do. But it is not environmentally friendly, so I'll probably get butchered for that. But that's just what I'm using in the garden. So when you're cutting, somebody asked how I cut them. I use a chainsaw. Make sure and just use a respirator, some type of mask when you are cutting them. I probably should leave that out because I don't want all the feedback on it, but it is what it is. That's what I'm sharing with you, the good and bad of the garden. Of course, then I have this creek here. So all these homes rush into this pond. This was the pump is turned off right now. That blooming right there in the background is a rhododendron. So then the pond has kind of got out of whack, but that is, it ran for a long time, but I've already started to remove rock and stone from there. So it looks a little bit not so healthy. And then there's phlox right beside it. So we were back there with those railroad ties. I will be filling that up and feeding the water through that pond into this pond. And I think that'll be sharp. And I'll be underneath the 2 redbuds plus a maple tree in the background. But all these homes that are around us, all the water gushes into our property. And so then it either fills this up. First it follows around that right where that bucket is. But then it'll fill this up. And then once it fills up, gravity will continue its course through here into this. So I've always keep this wet. Obviously, I keep it running as much as possible. Just for the sound. I love seeing the birds come in here and take baths, get drinks, that type of stuff. So it works good for the garden. So the water then continues through there. Once it fills it up, again, stay patient with me, folks that have been with me for a while. Once it fills it up to that stone right there, then it will start to wash under here. Again, we're still walking downhill. You can't tell it from here, but we are walking downhill. So this is our deck, the landing of our deck. Then once it gets to another height, it will stream out of here. It'll fill this stream up. And then once it gets to somewhere right in here, then it will overflow, and then it will flow into this piece all the way along that fence line and down to a water drainage. In fact, you can see water. This is real muddy right now. I don't know if you can tell, but this is real muddy right now. But yeah, that's pretty much the back garden. This piece right here, obviously we talked about this stuff. We'll get this cleaned up here in the next week or so, get it cleaned up. But right now, I would say this garden is right where I want it to be. Temperatures are playing okay. We do have those couple days of cold weather coming in, but I think all in all, we should be fine. I think whatever we're doing, whatever it is that you see, I know what I'm doing. It looks like a little village back here. I think I'm just gonna continue that course. But again, I'm just gonna continue to push stuff that I really like, that makes me happy. And if it means that I'm probably planting a trumpet vine, that I'm gonna use it, because we have trumpet vine throughout the whole community. If it's honeysuckle, then yeah, I'm probably using honeysuckle that's throughout the entire community. It's because a lot of it just grows in our garden anyway. So I'm just capitalizing use it. If it means I need a railroad tie in a spot, I'm probably just going to go ahead and use a railroad tie in that spot. So that is what we're doing here. I hope this was a fun little tour to get you caught up where we're kind of at. Again, we're doing the lighting feature, and that should represent itself tomorrow. And it sounds like the neighbors are coming out to visit, so I am going to see you folks on the flip side. Bye-bye.